let me tell you how we're going to pay for it. Some of the ways to pay for the rest of it is the last couple of years, for example, 55 of the Fortune 500 companies making billions of dollars did not pay a single penny in taxes, not one single cent. Well, I don't want to punish anybody, but everybody, and I hope someday my grandchildren grow up to be billionaires. That'd be wonderful, especially for a guy who for 36 years was listed as the poorest man in the United States Congress. But having said that, all kidding aside, everybody has to pay their fair share. I'm not trying to gouge anybody. Everybody just get in the game. If we put in place a minimum 15% tax on the profits of corporations, the ones that didn't pay any tax, that would raise $250 billion, $240 billion. There's a loophole in the system called stepped-up basis. That loophole goes that if I made a capital gains and I was a wealthy person and I was going to cash in my stock and I was going to have to pay a tax, I was going to make, $400,000 and I was going to pay X amount in taxes. If on the way to cash it in, I get hit by a truck, God forbid, and died, and I was left to my daughter, there'd be no tax paid. It's not an inheritance tax, it was a tax due 10 seconds earlier. We close that loophole, that saves us $400 billion a year. Not a year, $400 billion over this period, which is enough to pay for the child care tax credit. If we end tax breaks for fossil fuels and make polluters pay to clean up the messes they've made, that would raise $90 billion. I'm not asking them to do anything that is unfair. Just not going to subsidize them anymore. They're doing well, thank you. And the messes they made, they should clean up. Well, if we ask the top 1%, and I hope many of you are in the top 1%, maybe. You know, that tax cut that was passed in 2017 was all raised the deficit by over $2 trillion, not a penny paid for, and it didn't come back with anything. That in fact, that entire $2 trillion, the vast majority went to the top 1/10 of 1% of the American people. 1%, if we just, 1%, the folks in the top 1%, if they just paid their personal income tax the same as it was under President George W. Bush, that would generate $13 billion a year. It would raise the tax from what it is now, 35 to 39%. It's what, it's not like there's this idea, where you listen to the guy who used to have this job, and somehow we're gouging people. The fact of the matter is, a lot of you, if you're a plumber and a teacher, you're probably paying at 25, 26%. Some of you will be paying higher. But here, look, it's enough to provide for that one change, enough to provide for 2 years free community college for every student in America. Now,